He came in wearing faded jeans and a silent past, just another tired shopper in a crowded store. No one knew he owned the entire company. But when he stopped at register number 4, he saw her, a young cashier with trembling hands, swollen eyes, and a smile that tried and failed to hide the truth. That moment changed lives. And it exposed a secret that would shake the walls of the business he built from nothing. James Whitmore had walked into hundreds of his stores before, usually through polished glass doors, accompanied by executives' charts, laughter that never reached the heart. But tonight he came alone, no limousine, no tailored suit, no one calling him sir. Just a worn gray hoodie, a baseball cap pulled low, and the heavy weight of disappointment buried beneath his ribs. The company he built, Whitmore Markets, had grown into a giant, profitable, powerful. But something had gone missing along the way. Heart. He feared that the aisles of his stores had become colder than the freezers, so he went undercover to remember what it felt like to be human in a place made of fluorescent lights and price tags. He walked slowly among rows of cereal boxes and sale signs, pretending to study labels, but nothing caught his attention until he reached register 4. She was young, early 20s at most. Her name tag read Lucia. Her blue vest was faded. Her hands trembled as she scanned each item, paper or plastic. She asked a customer, her voice steady but too soft, like someone exhausted from trying to be strong. The customer snapped at her for being slow. Lucia apologized. Twice. James froze. Something inside him tightened. No employee should apologize for surviving. He stepped back, blending into the line, watching. Her eyes were swollen, not from sleeplessness, but from tears that had dried and returned again. When the manager passed, Lucia's shoulders flinched, her breath catching in her throat. The man wore a crisp white shirt and a clipboard like armor. His badge said, "Greg." He barked orders into the air, loud enough for the entire store to hear, loud enough to crush the spirit of anyone within reach. James watched. He noticed the little details. Lucia slipped a chocolate bar into a toddler's bag and paid for it from her own pocket. She smiled at elderly customers with a gentleness that made them linger. She apologized for things that weren't her fault. And every time Greg walked by, fear flickered in her eyes. James kept her in sight for 30 minutes. He didn't see an employee. He saw a quiet battle as the evening slowed and the last customers drifted out. James returned this time as himself. He asked for the manager. Greg came forward, confusion clouding his arrogance. Within minutes, truth poured out like poison. Unpaid overtime, breaks denied, threats of termination. Lucia was working extra shifts not because she wanted to, but because she needed to. Her mother had cancer. The bills were drowning them. She was afraid to lose the only income keeping her family alive. The tears James witnessed were not from a single bad day. They were from months of suffering no one had bothered to notice. James asked Greg, quietly, "Why would you treat your people like this?" Greg shrugged. "They're replaceable. You want efficiency? You need pressure." That sentence sealed Greg's fate. But the final breath of the night broke. Lucia clocked out. She headed for the door, clutching her backpack like a shield. James stepped into her path. She startled, then apologized as if she expected blame simply for existing. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," James said softly. "You did everything right." She blinked at him, confused. He had already read her file. Brilliant student, nursing classes, high grades until life hit her with cruel hands. Her father died. She became the caregiver to her younger siblings and her sick mother. Dreams were postponed in aisle 7 under fluorescent lights. "Lucia," James said, voice trembling with something he rarely let himself feel. "You deserve better." He fired Greg that night, then. He made phone calls. He arranged full medical support for Lucia's mother through company, partners, and quietly, without making it a charity case, he paid every remaining tuition fee for Lucia to finish nursing school. But the story did not end at register, for James knew if this was happening here, it was happening elsewhere, so he ordered a company-wide audit. Anonymous reporting systems, mental health support, clear policies, enforcement, accountability. Within weeks, whispers turned into voices. Hidden pain became visible, and change began. 1 month later, Lucia stood on a small stage during the company conference. Her hands shook around the microphone, but not from fear, from gratitude. From courage, she wore a simple white blouse. Her voice carried across the room. "I thought I was alone," she began. "I thought kindness was a luxury. Sometimes all it takes is one person who sees you, really sees you." The room stilled. She talked about dignity, about how small kindnesses matter, about how pressure breaks people, but compassion rebuilds them. When she finished, silence hung for a heartbeat. Then applause, not polite, not corporate, human. James watched from the sidelines. His chest tight, he went undercover to check profit margins instead. He found a broken soul, his company's and a young woman's, and together they mended. He had not just found a cashier crying, he had found the heart he feared was gone.